I have a question for you. What is happiness? Well, many people think that happiness is pleasure, but in reality, they both are different. They are not exactly the same thing. Pleasure is something we get from the world, it's external. But on the other hand, happiness is sometimes misunderstood. It's not something that we get from outside. If you start finding happiness from outside, then you will never going to find it, because the source or seeking happiness doesn't exist. If you start finding it, then it would be pleasure, not happiness. Happiness is something that's within us. Happiness is all inside us. We just need to be happy. Happiness doesn't require any particular reason at all. Happiness is just something that we have to choose. It's your choice what you want to choose. But you just can't gaslighting yourself into believing that you are happy when you are not. Actually, we have to earn it instead of seeking it from the outside world. So, how do we earn it? How to earn happiness. Have you ever had one of those days where you know you need to wake up early, say at 5 a.m., but you just feel too lazy and tired to get out of bed? We've all been there. The bed feels warm and inviting, and you think, maybe I'll just stay here a little longer. But let's imagine you actually get up at 5 a.m., even though it's hard. How do you think you would feel? You might think you'd be grumpy and less happy because you had to leave your cozy bed. But surprisingly, you might feel the opposite. You might feel happier. If you choose to stay in bed, sure, it feels nice and comfy for a while. But this feeling of pleasure is only temporary. It's like eating a piece of chocolate, sweet but soon gone. On the other hand, if you get up and start your day, you might not regret it. In fact, you would likely feel proud of yourself and more cheerful. Think about it. If you got up, did some push-ups, went for a walk, or did a little cardio exercise, wouldn't you feel good about it? Doing these small things can make you feel energized and happier because you've started your day in a productive way. This is the secret to earning happiness. It's not about waiting for happiness to find you while you lie in bed. It's about doing small actions that make you feel good. These actions add up and help you grow. So don't chase happiness by doing nothing. Instead, work on habits that bring happiness to you. Focus on small tasks that make you feel better after you do them. It could be exercising, reading a book, or even just making your bed. Do these tasks and see how your mood improves. In summary, getting up and doing something, even small things, helps you earn happiness. It's the little efforts that make a big difference in how happy you feel. So next time, try to get out of bed and do something productive. You'll see how much better you feel. Happiness doesn't depend on the experience that we get from our life, but from the reaction that we show to it. There was once a man who was exceptionally wealthy. He owned an immense amount of money, a fleet of luxurious cars, sprawling houses, and all the material possessions he could ever desire. Alongside his wealth, he had a loving wife and 2 delightful children. His life seemed perfect, and he was the embodiment of happiness, enjoying every moment with his family and his world of abundance. However, life took a dramatic and heart-wrenching turn. One fateful day, a force beyond his control, call it destiny or the will of God, stripped him of everything he held dear. In an inexplicable sweep, he lost all his riches. His cars stood as haunting reminders of a past life, his houses were empty, and most devastatingly, his wife and children were taken from him. His life, once filled with joy and prosperity, was now shadowed by grief and despair. In the wake of this overwhelming loss, he found himself alone and destitute. His initial reaction was a deep, sorrowful cry. He wept as much as he could, letting the waves of pain and heartbreak crash over him. The seemingly insurmountable loss was enough to break any person. Now, imagine being in his shoes. How would you react if you were faced with such complete devastation? Would you fall into the abyss of despair and find it impossible to see a way out? Many might consider giving up, thinking there's nothing left to live for. However, this man, despite the immeasurable grief and the temptation to succumb to complete hopelessness, chose a different path. After exhausting his tears and feeling the full weight of his heartbreak, he made a profound decision. He did not end his life. Instead, he decided to accept the harsh reality that had befallen him. Accepting the situation didn't mean he was okay with it or that the pain went away. It meant he acknowledged it as his new reality. In an unparalleled act of resilience, he chose to move forward, step by step, day by day. With nothing left but his will to live, he embraced the idea that even from the darkest moments, a new chapter could begin. The strength to continue came from a place of deep inner resolve, a place that understood that life, no matter how cruel or unforgiving, still had a future to offer. So what would you do if faced with the same circumstances? Would you find it within yourself to cry, to grieve, and then to accept and move on? The man's story is a testament to the extraordinary human spirit, the ability to survive, adapt, and continue even when everything is lost. Give without expecting anything at all. Have you ever given your food to someone who was really hungry and didn't have any food to eat? If you have, you might remember how it made you feel. It's likely you felt a warm sense of happiness and satisfaction. Now, imagine if you didn't share your food but instead ate it yourself. Sure, it would taste good and make you feel happy for a little while, but that feeling wouldn't last very long. Think about this. When you give your food to that hungry person, you are not just feeding them. You are giving them a moment of relief, gratitude, and perhaps hope. These feelings create a lasting happiness inside you. Even decades later, 20, 30, or 50 years from now, thinking about that moment when you gave food to the hungry person will still warm your heart and make you smile. That happiness doesn't fade over time. It stays with you forever. This is why it's important to give to people without expecting anything in return. When we give freely, we experience a deeper kind of joy that isn't tied to getting something back. We can't control what others do or how they will respond, but we can control our own actions. Here's another example. Imagine you are walking down the street and you see someone who has lost their wallet and looks really upset. You pick up the wallet and give it back to them. They don't have to give you money or even say thank you. The fact that you did something kind makes you happy. The joy you feel from helping them will last a lifetime, much longer than any material reward. Picture this. You have a garden full of beautiful flowers. Every day you water them, give them sunlight, and take care of them without expecting the flowers to give you anything in return. Your reward is in seeing them bloom and grow. That sight brings you happiness and peace. You didn't need anything from the flowers, just seeing them flourish was enough. The same goes for acts of kindness. You don't give because you want something back. You give because it feels right, and that in itself is fulfilling. It's like planting seeds of goodness in the world. You may not see the impact right away, but over time these seeds grow into beautiful experiences and memories that enrich your life. Think of it as filling a bank of happiness. Every kind act is a deposit that you can draw joy from for years to come. When you look back on your life, these moments of giving will be the highlights that stand out, shining brightly amidst other memories. So, next time you have the chance to give, whether it's sharing your food, helping someone in need, or simply lending an ear to a friend, do it without expecting anything in return. You'll be surprised at how much happiness and fulfillment it brings you in the long run. Remember, the joy of giving lasts a lifetime, while the joy of receiving is temporary. In the end, it's not about how much you have, but about how much you give. Giving without expectation creates a ripple effect of kindness and happiness that spreads far and wide, touching not only others, but also bringing lasting joy to your own heart.